Hey, what's up,
Hey
everybody? Welcome to
everyone.
Doing Life with Ken and Tabitha. We are excited about this episode. This one is the
It's
one.
a good
Yeah,
one.
this is a good one. This is the one that you want to make sure that you share, maybe watch it a couple of times. And we
Yes.
love your feedback. This whole community that we're building, and that's why we're calling it Doing Life with Ken and
Yep.
Tabitha, because we want to do life with you guys. We understand that there are hard days ahead, there are some victories that are ahead as well. And we want
Absolutely.
to share the good, the bad, the ugly of our life and hope
Hmm.
that your life will be better with one another and also your relationship with God. And I just think it's important just to have a community of people that you know are praying for you and rooting you on. And so if
Absolutely.
you're new to our program, welcome. Make sure that you subscribe if you can so that you can be the first to get all the content as it comes out. We love your feedback. Please comment. Let us know if we're doing a good job and let us know what you have need of as it relates to prayers. And we'll make sure that we'll do that with you as well. And so we're pumped about today. Today's message or talk is entitled How to Not Let Your Kids Ruin Your Marriage.
Whew.
How to Not Let Your Kids Ruin Your Marriage. When I say that, what comes to your mind?
I want to laugh.
Wow.
I feel like every parent around the world is just like, please,
Yeah.
yes, like
Calling
high
all parents.
five,
Yeah.
like,
Uh-huh.
a win for
But do
parents.
you know why that is? I think that we have marketed having children in such a way that it's all about the joy.
Come
It's all
on.
about somebody had a baby, there's a gender reveal, pshoo, yellow and pink or blue, which one is it going to be? And we have romanticized having children. It's almost like before we
Absolutely.
had kids. It was like a mandate. Oh, when y'all having kids?
Yep.
When y'all having kids?
Yep.
Oh, y'all would have such cute babies. They didn't tell us that them babies was gonna barf and
Oh,
they was gonna have us up all night and that it wasn't always gonna be pretty. And I think sometimes we set people up because they don't understand how difficult parenting is. And
absolutely.
when it gets difficult, it doesn't mean that you're not doing it right or
Hmm.
something's wrong.
Right.
It is what it
It's
is.
just hard.
Yeah.
Marriage is hard. Having children is hard. I
Uh-huh.
mean, life is just hard,
Right.
and like we need to accept that.
And some people hear that as like a bad thing, but
And
go ahead.
yeah, it's not a bad thing.
Uh-huh.
It's just a fact.
Uh-huh.
But when you know that, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Here's how I'm going to overcome.
Yeah.
Like, no big
Well,
deal.
the thing is that we've been made for hard things.
Hmm.
And anything that's worth anything in life is going to take a fight,
Hmm.
especially on the spiritual side. There is a devil that's loose that wants to kill, steal, and destroy, even coming out of the womb. And so
Absolutely.
we're going to need to know how to fight
Yeah.
right because we've been already given victory. And so our word is that even though it's hard, marriage is hard, parenting is hard, does not mean that we're supposed to do it. We shouldn't be leaning out of hard things. We should actually be leaning into hard things and saying, God, your grace is sufficient.
Absolutely.
We want to help some parents
Yeah.
today. So get your parents on here right now. Get some parents, call some parents up, share this with some parents. Because unfortunately, we have found that sometimes children can ruin the marriage.
Yeah.
And it's not the children's fault.
Yeah.
So
Never.
I said that it's kind
Never.
of like clickbait.
It's,
Children don't ruin the marriage. It's how we allow ourselves to drift away from one another
hmm.
because of the responsibility of parenting.
Hmm.
Or we have different ideologies of how to parent.
Hmm.
Satan uses anything that he can to cause division in the marriage.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that for a moment?
Well, I think it's also understanding that the family, when it, the husband and wife are the foundation of the family.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes we get married and the question is, when are you going to start a family? As if the family starts whenever you have a child. Now, I mean, it's okay, but technically the family starts when you say I do. The
Yeah.
family starts with the husband and the wife.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you add children into that scenario, knowing that you are the foundation of the family, now you have to protect the foundation.
Yeah.
The children are going to flourish and thrive in life when the parents, the mother and father, flourish and thrive in life,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so with our children, we learned that, okay, we're going to protect our marriage.
Yeah.
Yes, children are going to come, the babies are going to cry and scream for our attention. They are going to want every bit of emotion that we have, every bit that we, like everything that we have, they are going to suck it from us. And rightfully so, you know what I
The
mean?
word suck is funny 'cause it's
Like
true.
they're just literally like, come on, wives, nursing, moms,
Like a
come on.
leech.
Like they will literally leech onto your body and suck everything from you. No, but knowing that, like that's what the child is going to do. And
Right.
not that it's like that's what they should do. It's their job.
Right.
Our job is to set boundaries
Yeah.
around the husband and wife, around the foundation of the marriage, so that the kids can thrive and mom and dad can thrive as well.
And the reason that we say that the husband and wife is the foundation of the marriage is because truthfully, we are to raise our children up in the way that they should go. So when they're old, they won't depart.
Yes.
But hopefully they'll go on to have their own families.
Yes.
And then me and you going to be left looking at each other.
That's right.
And I don't want, after our kids fly the coop, to be like, who are you? And
Yeah.
you'd be like, I don't know, who are you? And then we want to go different ways because we've poured our life into our kids.
And I
that
don't
went,
want to be all old and beat up, and wore out once the kids left the house, because
What you want to be like?
I didn't take care of myself. I just poured everything into the kids and became some soccer mom that doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, I am a soccer mom, but I'm a soccer. I take care of myself. I want to stay physically fit, mentally aware, love with my husband. And when the kids go, it's just like, okay, I mean, yes, I'm going to feel sad.
No, I'm not going to feel sad. I'm going to be like, we'll see you
miss
when
my
we
babies.
see you. And let's get naked and walk around this crib. That's what I'm thinking. I was actually thinking that like last night.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we built, this is too much information.
Oh,
we built
my
a new
goodness.
closet. It's like a walk-in closet. And I went to her yesterday. I said, man, we should have turned this thing into a sex closet. This would have been cool. We could have had mirrors all up here. But the kids would have probably, the kids would have probably came in and been like, what are you doing? So as soon as they're out, we are getting a room and we're going to turn it into mommy and daddy fun spot. This is better than Disney. This is better.
I'm speechless. I don't know what to say.
Whatever.
I'm probably blushing and everything. I don't know.
Well, here's the deal. Let's give us some context. So we've been married for 23 years. I always say it's been the best 21 years of my life. Now that you got yourself together, marriage is a lot better. Praise God.
You better say it.
I better say it. And
I'm beating you up now.
yeah. But our for the first 2 years, our marriage was absolutely horrible. I was mean. I was selfish. I was prideful. I was unfaithful. I didn't really understand how to be a husband. I just knew how to be single. And that's what single people need to know. They need to know how to be a wife. You need to know how to be a husband. And so thankfully, I found a good church where there was a marriage that was exemplified before us. And we learned some things from the Word of God. Shout out to our pastors for really laying a foundation for our relationship.
That's right.
But from our 23 years of marriage, come on, for 23 years, we have 3 beautiful kids. We have a high school senior currently, and we have 2 middle schoolers. And so we know a little bit about parenting. We don't know everything. Parenting is one of those things that you wish somebody would have gave you a book.
Absolutely.
Like, this is what you should do. But every kid's personality is different. Every kid's calling is different. And every parent's journey is going to be different. Some people are dealing with children who is autistic. Some people are dealing with children that are gifted, advanced, that won't listen, that will listen. I mean, nobody gives you a book and says, this is how you're supposed to do it. That's why you need the good book, the Bible. That's the book for me. Not only that, you need the leading of the Holy Spirit, because the way that we treat one of our kids might not be the exact same way as another kid.
Yes.
And when I say treat, no, they get the same love, they get the same attention, but their personalities and their callings are different. So we have to adjust.
Sometimes the rules have to bend a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And so for us, this has been huge because I was never that guy. And I don't know if guys are this way. I was never growing up like, I can't wait to have kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how you were. I was like, I'm excited to be married.
Right.
Because it was all about me.
I can see that
I would
about
get
you.
to have somebody fix food for me. This is just in my teenage mind. I'm going to get to have sex regularly. I'm going to marry somebody who's super fine. I did do that, praise God. And it's just going to be this long date. I never one time growing up ever remember thinking, oh man, I can't wait to have kids.
Wow.
Now I've heard guys say that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the first baby that I remember holding was my own. Like, I'm just like not a big baby kid kind of person.
Right.
I love my own. You can have yours back. But now I love kids. As a pastor, you got to love kids. But I guess what I'm saying is that this was not an area that I had any prior knowledge.
Right.
And so I didn't really know if it was going to be hard or it was going to be easy. But if you look on Instagram, people make this it seems like it's easy.
Yeah.
Like they have their kids matching clothing. Their kids all wearing Ralph Lauren. Everybody's going to Disney, having a good time. They all got TikTok dances going the same way. I can't get my kids sometimes to get up and clean.
Our kids won't smile for the Christmas picture.
Oh my God!
Like they're fighting each other.
If you ever get a Christmas card from us, just know it was warfare.
That's right.
It was warfare just to get people to smile and to try not to be ashy. I don't understand like how people are putting out these images.
How do you forget to brush your teeth?
Every day.
I'm saying every day.
Like every day.
Not just like, oh, it's Friday and I was busy, I forgot to brush my teeth. But Monday, like Saturday, did you brush your teeth?
Wednesday.
Oh, I forgot. But you forgot yesterday.
And the day before that.
The day before
and
that.
I tell you every day to
ever
clean your room.
remember?
No, I had one kid tell me yesterday. I said, "Are you going to fix some breakfast?" "Well, I'm not going to eat." I said, "Don't you ever leave this house without eating breakfast." And he gonna say, "Well, can I eat cereal?" I said, "No, you're gonna warm up some bacon, get you some toast. You're gonna have a full, like a meal, not just cereal. Because what you gonna do? Snack all day and be at school negotiating donuts? It's like,
hey, what about? Listen, just last night, it's 11:45. I'm asleep, right, and sleeping good. The alarm goes off, wakes everyone in the house up.
I was so upset.
I go running to the stairs, right? And I'm like, hey, who's down there? You know, like, what's going on? And I hear very nonchalantly, "It's moi." I said, girl, we'll come down there and smack you.
It's our 8th grader, and it's 11:30 at night. She's supposed to be in bed by 9:30.
Like, what are you doing?
And what did she say? She says, "Well, I've been up thinking about what I'm going to wear tomorrow."
Because it's a special day where they can wear like all this Christmas stuff and crazy clothes because they usually wear uniforms.
I said, "You've been up for 2 hours? You supposed to be in bed at 9:30. It's 11:30. You setting the alarm off because you thinking about what you're going to wear? What kind
I left you out there. I went to bed and I was like, he's still out there talking to her.
I'm just saying. So all we're saying is that there's no book for this. But we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. We're like that farmer's commercial. And we're going to help as much as we can. Now, we're still trying to figure out this whole parenting thing, but we're going to share with you some things and some principles that we've learned
works for us
over the years that's worked for us. Mm-hmm. And what you can do is take the meat, leave the bones.
That's right.
But I know that there are some parent that is watching this right now that their kid is wow, like the Tasmanian devil.
Oh.
And I'm tearing up the house, tearing up the marriage, sleeping in the bed. I mean, they got this kid and that kid is ruining their life and possibly going to ruin their marriage. And it ain't got to do with the kid. It's that the parents haven't placed parameters. Right. And we're here to help you today.
You got to lay the WWF old school smackdown.
Let's go.
Okay.
So here's some things that we've done not to allow our children to ruin our marriage.
Okay.
Number 1, we have a date night every Friday night.
Yes, we do.
And we've done it for about 20 years. Of course, we've went through chemotherapy. We've had seasons of our life where we've had to adjust it. We've had to adjust it. But the principle is that practically every Friday night, we have a thing called date night. Mm-hmm. All right. It is so programmed. That's all our kids know because my oldest is 17. They even ask us on Friday night, "Oh, y'all going on date night?" Mm-hmm. They do not expect us to do anything on Friday night. They don't expect to go anywhere on Friday night. They have in their mind, since they were in the womb, that Friday night, mom and dad is going on date night.
That's right.
Come on.
And they don't, like they're the middle one is in a phase right now where she's like, if we kiss or even like look at each other a certain where she's like, like she can't take it.
Yeah.
And so like I kind of like antagonize her a little bit. I'll be like, she'll forget. Mm-hmm. Well, what are we doing tonight? I'm like, I have a hot date. Like she literally, and just melts onto the ground. But at the end of the day, it's security for our children. Like they know that mommy and daddy love each other so much. Mm-hmm. They know that they're having this date night. I think it's good for them. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in their marriages and how they implement date night.
Well, let me just unpack it for a moment because I don't want this to turn into how to have an effective date night. But I do want to talk about it a little bit because I don't want to assume that everybody knows what a date night is. So for us, it's to pick one day a week. Doesn't have to be a Friday night, any day that you want. And parameter and say that this is a day that mommy and daddy husband and wife will date one another.
Mm-hmm.
And this is important because you want to keep romance in the marriage. Because if not,
Absolutely.
you can become just roommates, and you can just kind of go through the motions, become business partners. We went half on a baby, stuff like that. And we don't want that. We literally want to have the same passion that we had when we first met each other, and how I tried to impress you, and I would take you ice skating, and I would take you roller skating, and you would make me picnics in the park, and we would do all of that. We want to try to keep that same passion at year 25 that we had in the first 5 months.
Yeah,
That's easier said than done because life goes on.
absolutely.
But having a set night that you let everybody know, who your card buddies, your pool buddies, you have everybody know, this is my date night.
Yeah.
This is a time when I'm investing in my wife and my wife is investing in me. This is a time where we turn off our
On
phones.
your calendar.
It's on our calendar. And, we have some improving to do in our date night,
Absolutely.
because right now I feel like I'm the more of the one that's planning the date night, because I'm the planner. And I guess it's okay because you're more spontaneous. But I think that there needs to be a focus there, just to make sure that and sometimes it's not about spending a lot of money. Sometimes a date night is all about quality time and going sitting in the park, taking a walk together, going jogging together. Our date nights have changed. 23 years of going out, I'm tired of the restaurants. I'm tired of movies. I'm tired
It's
of it
just
all.
different seasons that we live in. There's some seasons where we're like so much in the public that we don't want to, we don't feel like getting dressed up, and we don't feel like doing our hair and makeup, or my makeup, and putting on nice clothes. But we're just like, hey, let's go down to the park. We live in Orlando. Let's go down to Lake Eola, and let's just go for a run, and then just stop by some cafe somewhere, get some food, hang out with one another.
Yeah, we lived in Gainesville, Florida for about 12 years, and we would go to the University of Florida and run the steps
Run
at
the
stadium.
stadiums.
And that would be our date night. So we'd go for a run, and then we would go to a restaurant where you could sit outside because we was all sweaty. And that was some of my favorite date nights.
Yeah.
It was very low cost, but high
But
impact.
it's something that we both love to do.
Yeah, we love
and
to.
just spending time together. But then there are other times when the kids were small, and maybe I had been in the house all day, every day, like changing diapers and all of this stuff. And I'm like, please, it's Friday night. I want to put on a nice dress and do my hair and makeup and go out and feel like a woman, feel like a grown up, detach me from the children, please.
Yeah.
And so different seasons, you do different things.
Yeah.
And they don't have to cost a lot of money. Sometimes we had we had a date night, but we stayed at home where we maybe ordered from some food. We shut the door and locked it.
Yeah.
And we watched TV and, just all kinds of things. So it's just whatever. But the main thing is spending time together so that we don't grow apart, but we spend time together talking to one another the way we used to before we got married, like staying on the phone all day, all night, like you hang up, no, you hang up, no, you hang up. I mean, this is the kind of time we want to spend together on date night.
And that's easier said than done because we know each other so well after all of these years. So you have to be very intentional. But I just feel like the Holy Spirit's saying is that there's some people who have real questions about parenting. And I would love for you to send those questions in. I think there's an email address in our show notes. You can put them in the comments, and hopefully we can create some shows where we just answer questions and we do some live things as well.
Yeah.
But I want to move on to the second step. This is a principle that we've used not to
This is a
allow
good
our
one.
kids to ruin our marriage. And number 2 is that we never allow kids to sleep in our bed.
Come on.
They have their own bed. You got to go.
Yep.
Talk about it.
And we did this, really, this was a lot of my doing. Well, I mean, of course you liked it as well, but I felt like as a wife, if I would have been like, look, the baby has to be in the bed with me, then you would have gave in and been like, okay, I don't know what to do.
I don't know. Oh, well, if you said,
when the baby's
if you
a
made it a
newborn.
point of contention. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, because, you bring them home from the hospital and we're nursing and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I don't want to get out of my bed and go walk to the, to the nursery to nurse the baby or anything like that. But there are simple things that you can do. So what I learned to do.
Can we slow it down for just a moment? I want to ask you, what exactly did we do?
What did we do?
Yeah. So
we did not allow our children to sleep in the bed with us.
one night, 2 nights?
Ever.
Ever.
None of our children have ever slept with us, 3 children.
Are you telling me that out of 3 kids, no kid has ever slept in the bed with us?
Right.
Ever.
Right.
One night.
One night.
Maybe when I'm away. But
Yeah,
if
when
daddy's
you're away,
home,
slumber party.
yeah, if daddy's home, they go into their own bed.
Yep.
You're telling me that you brought a 2-day-old baby home and you didn't put him in the bed with
Right.
you, even though you nursed all of our children,
Right.
breastfed all of our children.
Right.
What did you do?
Okay. I found ways around it because I know the convenience of having the baby in the bed with you, but I didn't want to train my baby to be in the bed with me. And so I had a bassinet, and literally the bassinet was right next to my bed. And so if the baby cried, I'd roll over, pick up the baby, nurse the baby, put the baby back in the basket, and then just roll over and go back to sleep.
Yeah.
And so in the beginning, we kept the baby in our room for probably 2 weeks until we got comfortable enough to be like, okay, I know what I'm doing here. Let me go put the baby in the room across the hall.
Right.
And so that worked for us. Now, there were times where then the kids got older, right? And they kind of would crawl out of their bed. You couldn't keep them in their bed anymore. And so then I put a gate on the door. And there was always like, I don't know if all of the children did this, but I know with one, like two of them actually, Charity and Hannah, they both, like, we had to put a gate on their door. So when they crawled out of their bed, they couldn't get out of the room.
Okay.
And so they would scream, but I just let them scream. Like, it was okay. And after a little bit of time, they would stop screaming. And that was one night, one incident. And for the rest of the time, they know the rules are you don't get out of your bed to come into mommy's room. Like, we just did things like that to keep our children in their own beds. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? I've noticed that, and I've heard these stories of parents that allow their children to sleep in their bed. I'm talking about 2-year-olds. I'm talking about 3-year-olds. I'm talking about 5-year-olds.
I like my sleep.
I'm talking about
I need
8-year-olds.
sleep.
Can you, I need some help. Just help me understand why, or why do you think, maybe you don't know, but why do you think a woman or a man would do that, allow their child to sleep in their bed that long?
I think, and what would be my guess is that it was the same feeling that I felt when, let's say, our middle one cried because she wanted to get out. Like, they're screaming and crying, and you don't want to hurt their feelings. You don't want them to feel like, I don't know, they're betrayed or something. It's like you think that it's this crazy thing with your child. All they want to do is sleep in the bed with you. They're afraid to sleep. Like, I don't know. It's as if something's going to happen to them or whatever.
Yeah.
It's really not true.
Yeah.
It's perception.
I don't know. Let's throw some things around. I think sometimes it's fear. You're fearful of the baby not being really close to you. So we would have a video monitor and we have an audio monitor, and we would hear that baby.
We see exactly what's going
just
on.
A little bit.
We
Thank
hear
God for
everything that's
technology.
going on.
So maybe it's fear. Maybe it's insecurity. I think that for some women, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, they get so used to that baby needing them in such a way that they develop this tie that's godly at first, but if it's not checked, can become ungodly.
Yeah.
And it's almost like I've heard of stories of someone who nursed a baby, and the baby was like 5-6 years old.
Oh, absolutely. We've all heard those stories.
And that's a level of insecurity. Something's happening there that's not something's broken there that needs to be fixed. But I think there's similar principles from allowing a kid to continue to stay in the bed, knowing that it's affecting the husband. It has to affect the relationship between a man and his wife.
Yeah.
If I can't reach over and grab a booby, and if I can't reach over and do whatever I need to do, this kid in the middle of us, you got to go.
Yeah.
You got to go. The bed is the place that we make babies. It's not the place that the babies sleep. And I feel very strongly about that.
Yeah. I mean,
because I think it's important.
I kind of feel the same way you do. And everyone has, like, if you do have a child sleeping in the bed with you, that's something that you should, just explore.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? Because I think if you read articles and research on children sleeping in the bed, it's actually, not a good thing for them to sleep in the bed with you. Now, there are whole societies of people that say, oh, it's just a family bed. It's a shared bed. I really don't subscribe to those principles. I don't believe it's healthy for the husband and wife. And also, again, like I said earlier, if mom and dad aren't healthy, our children aren't healthy.
Yeah.
So I think our children thrive when we set boundaries and say, no, this is what mom and dad do. But I think, if you're doing that right now, you can definitely bring it to an end.
And they're going to leave kicking and screaming at your door. Let me
You
in.
better know, because you've allowed them, you've told them that they can do this their whole life. And so they're going to be like, why have you changed? What is this? What is going on?
But they will be okay.
Yeah, but they will be okay.
They will be
They
okay.
will live.
And you know what? We're not giving you a law. We don't want you to feel bad if that's where you've been.
It's not a sin.
No, you love your kid. We get it.
Yeah.
But what we're supposed to do on this show is to speak life. where there could be challenges and to give you
Absolutely.
other opportunities and principles to live a successful married life. But we got to move on because I would love to stay on that
Okay.
one. But number
Okay.
3, the third principle that we would give, not to allow your kids to hijack your marriage, would be we plan to be in our bedrooms by 8 p.m. every night.
Yes, we
Okay.
do.
And I think that's important because there are many people that are up watching movies with their kids till, well, first off, they don't even give their kids bedtimes. Can you just talk to that for a moment? So
Oh,
we've always given our kid
absolutely.
bedtime. And can you just share?
I've always given our children a bedtime and even a nap time when they were younger because there's a certain amount of sleep. There's a certain amount of sleep that a child needs, just like an adult needs. And so their days were very scheduled, and that kept them from having temper tantrums. It just kept them like in order.
Yeah.
And they loved it. Like they would be so sad and grumpy and everything if they didn't have their nap or if they didn't go to sleep on time. And so every night we kept a bedtime. They know, and that's the thing with, what we talked about earlier about the kids having their own bed to sleep in. If they go to bed at every 8 o'clock every night, we start a bedtime routine at 7 o'clock. It's 7 o'clock. We go get out our clothes for the next door. We
No,
take
what
a
we say
hot bubble bath.
is that it's quiet time. It's
quiet time.
around 7.
Yep.
So between 7 and 8, we might, begin to wind down.
That means the TV's not on and blasted. The radio's not on and blasted. Everything's quiet. Everything's coming down.
But here's the thing. To some people, 8 p.m. is crazy early. And
To
maybe
kids,
it
it's
is.
not, though.
Yeah, I mean, you can set whatever time, but we're going to give you the principles that
Yeah.
work for us.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes we be putting our kids to bed and it's still light outside. They be looking at us like, hey, it's still light outside, but 8 p.m. is the time.
That's where blackout curtains come in handy,
Right.
because we live in Florida and there's a lot of sunshine. And it's like, oh, no, it's 8 o'clock. I shut the curtains. Everything's blacked out. We turn on the night light. I open a book. I read them a story, and they're already yawning.
So can I ask you this? What ages did we continue that with? So it was 8 p.m. until about what age?
Ooh, it was maybe 10 years old, and then maybe it went back to 8:30.
8:30. So
And
for our
then-
11-year-old, I think it's 8:30 now. For our 13-year-old, her bedtime is what?
Probably 9:30.
9:30. And now for our high schooler,
She doesn't really have a bedtime,
because
but
she's so disciplined, that
she'll
she's
go to
gonna
bed
be
as early as she
she's
can.
going to be in bed like 7:45.
Yeah.
Because she has to get up at 5 a.m. and
She
she's doing
runs
all that stuff.
miles for cross country and track.
But if she wasn't
so-
that kind of person, we would put a
would have
parameter
a
around her.
parameter, yep.
Like as long as you're in our house. But I guess what I want people to know is that as your child ages, it's okay to move the goal line a little bit and adjust it, but don't let it be crazy. I guess what I'm trying to address a little bit, and you can speak to this, is that I just hear of people allowing their kids to stay up watching movies till midnight and 1 a.m.
Yeah,
And it's almost like at that point, the parents have an obligation still to be parents, I hope,
right.
and be watching TV with their kids to see what they're watching. But for us, we make 8 p.m. husband and wife time. So we're going to turn in. Now, I can get up early and stay up late. I need about 6 hours of sleep. I'm ready to rock it. You are more of a early riser and you go to bed early. So you're typically in the bedroom about 7, and by 8:30 you're kind of gone, So I know as a husband that if I want quality time, and you know what I mean by quality time, I need
You
to
better
have
come into
myself
bed.
into the bedroom by 8 p.m. So your personality has shaped the whole thing, and I'm okay with it. Like I'm there at 8. I might not even go to sleep really till 10:30 or so.
Right.
And I'll probably be up at 6 a.m. But I'm there at 8 because not only for intimacy, but also for conversation. So many husbands and wives, they don't have communication points. It's like he's out working, she's out working. He comes home, he falls asleep on the couch in the living room. She's somewhere else, and they're always missing each other. For us, we want to have daily points of communication. And so typically we would try to eat breakfast together. We're a little off rhythm with that right now, but without question, every day at 8 p.m., we're going to have some sort of, hey, if we need to talk, if we want to watch a movie together, if we want to be intimate together, we know 8 p.m. and we don't let kids come in. After
Right.
8 p.m., everybody in our house knows. And I've heard people, we've taught these principles before, and I've heard people say, oh, no, you can't do that. That's not real. Oh, no, it's really real.
You can't do what?
Do what we're saying. I've heard people say,
Oh, wow.
like, that's not true, like we're faking or something.
Oh,
Like, oh,
wow.
you can't live that way. Oh, yes, we do live
yes,
that
we
way.
do.
And we would suggest anybody.
It's good,
We
too.
ain't
It's
letting
the
our
good
kids
life.
take over our life.
That is right.
And they actually respect that.
They do.
And so everything begins to shut down. But I got to move on. Number 4, All right. This is a big one. Not to let your kids ruin your marriage, is that we've invested in a mattress and a bed that don't make a lot of noise. Can you unpack? Can you talk about it?
It's true. I mean, I probably care more than you care, but I know you care. The worst thing that could kill a mood is a squeaky mattress. You know, like you're trying to be quiet, like the kids are around. You know, not bad enough they're knocking on the door and doing things like that, but it's just you don't want to be in your head about like what the kids can hear.
We're going to do a whole segment just about sex. It's going to be all about sex and how to create intimacy in your relationship, the do's and don'ts of having great sex. I think we need to make sex great again. Come on, somebody.
Come on.
But there's a lot of parameters. And one of the things that I found, and I can't say this is for every woman, but it's for my woman, is that she can be easily distracted by the kids in the hallway, some noise outside, some kid that needs something. And it is like the worst. Back in the day, we call it a buzz kill. This is like a mood kill. Let's call it a mood kill. It's like kids are knocking on the door. And so we have noise canceling equipment like a ventilator. We have music that can come on. We've invested in an expensive mattress. It's one of the best investments that you can make, a great mattress. Now, we just moved into a new house, and when the movers moved our bed, they didn't tighten the screws down, and that thing is like, and it was weird. I was telling the handyman the other day, I was like, man, I was on the bed. I was like, it's moving. Can you do something with it? And it was just weird because I was trying not to do the movements, but kind of show him like, yeah, I need to tighten this bed up a little bit. For those of you all who don't know, I'm not a handyman. I think I don't do much here. So I'm like, bro, the bed is moving. But that's how important it is. That you need to make sure that I want to make sure you're comfortable. I don't want your brain going somewhere else. I need you to be with me on this thing. So our word would be to invest in the space and the atmosphere where you can have great intimacy as husband and wife.
Secure and comfortable.
Where you can feel secure and comfortable. More coming about that. But last but not least, number 5 would be, we have taught our kids never to come into our room without knocking.
Absolutely. And in fact, if we're doing anything intimate, the door's locked anyway. So you can knock, but you can try to come in, but you're not getting in. Okay. But training them to don't come in without knocking.
And even if they come in, you know how kids are, they'll come in and hey, stop. Nope, go back out. And I just let them stand out there and punish them by standing out there so that they can learn in their subconscious, don't you dare near ever come in this room without knocking.
They hate it too. Just come in and
because they're young.
Oh,
I forgot. Nope, I don't care that you forgot. And yes, it's 2 p.m. in the middle of the day, but go back out there and then knock and try again. It's so
good though, but they do it. It's funny because our oldest came knocking on the door last night, and she knew that you weren't in there because you were in the other room, but she still knock, and then still after she knocks, she'll kind of peek her head through there because she doesn't. Now she's old enough to know. She just like
well, she told him. She's like, girl, if you come in here when you ain't supposed to be in here, you're gonna see something that you wish you could take back.
Well, because she just one night I noticed was like a couple of times in a row, she just opened the door and just kind of came in, and we're sitting there in bed like at night, and I'm like, girl, you might not want to do that. You're going to see something you don't want to see. And oh man, that was just horrific. She did not want to hear that.
Oh man. Hey, anything else jump out to you if you were talking to a parent that's just needing some help for not letting their kids ruin their marriage? Is there anything else very quickly that jumps out to you?
I think some of the things that we already said is giving our kids, teaching them responsibility, and it teaches them ownership. It teaches them to make the right decisions. And I think that's key in our children. I think I love to see that in our kids now, even if they're growing older. And, one thing that I did with our kids too, when they were small, is I always made them a checklist. It was a morning checklist, what they do first thing when they wake up in the morning, and we would hang it on the wall. And then there was a checklist in the evening that they do right before they go to bed. It was a morning routine and an evening routine. And this helped them feel, take ownership over their lives, over their chores, over what they were supposed to do. And it made them feel really happy and proud. Like, look, mommy, I'm a big boy because I did this. Like, look, mommy, I'm a big girl. I did this. I brushed my teeth. I washed my face. I did my hair.
I prayed.
All of that on the checklist. I read the Bible, like all of those things were on a checklist. And really today, I mean, sometimes it feels like, did I teach them anything? honestly. But I'm hoping that
Right.
it's going to come
Right.
back and be really good for us. And even
Yeah.
we have our 17-year-old, she is actually, exemplifying or, showing some of those qualities that we poured into them to where she keeps her own schedule. She's on time.
Yeah.
She's responsible. She's accountable.
Right.
And I think it's because of some of these parameters that
Yeah.
we put in our children's lives.
I don't know. I just want to encourage a parent that's out there and you feel like, man, I'm struggling. Maybe you're a single mother. Maybe you're a single father. Maybe you have more kids than you do days of the week. I don't know what your situation is, but I want you to be encouraged. I do believe that the fruit of the womb is his reward.
Yes.
And I don't believe that there is any child that is an accident, no matter how they came about. I believe it is the reward of the Lord. And whenever God rewards you with something, he also gives you the grace to get it done. Read books about parenting. Go be a part of a church, get into a small group where other people start a small group.
Yeah, get support.
Yeah, get people around you where you can watch their kids, they can watch, give yourself some time off, man. You need personal time. I think that's the big thing for her. She needs personal time,
Yeah.
time where she can just like unwind without all of the responsibilities.
Bubble bath.
But whoever you are, wherever you are, we just pray that God continues to give you wisdom for your family. Just know that we love you. We hope that you enjoyed our show on today, how not to allow your kids to ruin your marriage. We pray God's blessing over your marriage. If you enjoy content like this, make sure that you subscribe right away. We believe that sharing is caring and caring is sharing. So please make sure that you share this. We're doing life with Ken and Tabitha, so we would love your feedback. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and hopefully one day also Twitter. But until the next time, every Tuesday and Thursday, we will be releasing a show just for you. So we'll see you there. Thank you for tuning in to Doing Life with Ken and Tabitha. We will see you next time. Peace.